These are the most popular songs in Japan right now, and more than half of them belong to Mrs. Greenapple. They're the biggest Japanese artists since YOASOBI, but there's one big difference between them and YOASOBI. Their popularity is solely in Japan. From dominating the charts to having their faces plastered everywhere, why is Japan so obsessed with this trio? Is Mrs. Greenapple just another industry sellout, or is there more to their success than meets the eye? Formed in 2013, Mrs. Greenapple is a pop rock band known for their catchy melodies and resonant lyrics. MGA have seen several member changes over the years, but it all started with their frontman Motoki Omori. For his elementary school graduation, Omori wanted to stand out, so he formed a band with his friend and practiced singing and playing bass. Seeing the joy of his school while performing was an unforgettable feeling, and it's what sparked his dream of becoming a musician. From bass, Omori shifted to learning guitar, and then taught himself how to compose songs with desktop music. By junior high school, he started skipping classes to write songs at home, although this worried his family. But when they saw him perform live, they realized how serious he was about music. Within a year, Omori had written over 30 original songs, and was signed by an agency. He started uploading his songs onto the video sharing site Nico Nico, and it impressed one of his classmates, Hiroto Wakai. At the time, Wakai was focused on becoming a pro football player, but by the time high school came around, he shifted his focus to guitar. The pair started practicing together, and this made Omori want to create another band. But this time, he wanted to do it professionally. Omori wanted 3 other members, and had a clear vision for recruiting them, prioritizing personality over technical skills. He went through the available talents at his agency, and was intrigued by keyboardist Suzuka Fujisawa and drummer Ayaka Yamanaka. Omori was so convinced by their character that he didn't even need to hear them play to bring them on board. Alongside bassist Takumi Matsuo, the lineup was complete, leaving just one more task left, picking the band's name. The group met at a family restaurant one day, determined to pick a name. They wanted to be named after a noun that was recognizable and easy to remember. Maybe something food or animal related, but they were all short on ideas. As they started to order food and look at the menu, Matsuo said green apple. Unlike red apples, green apples never ripen, so they were a perfect embodiment of their youthful spirit. Omori, who is ironically allergic to apples, was also inspired by another band's name. He wanted to add Mrs. in front of green apple, thinking it would give off a more mature and androgynous vibe, blending both masculine and feminine qualities. And thus, Mrs. Greenapple was chosen and the band was formed in spring of 2013. While their lineup has changed over time, their name has always remained the same. MGA's activity started in 2014 while most of the members were still in school. That summer, they held their first concert alongside the release of their debut mini-album. Matsuo later announced he would be parting ways, eventually being replaced by Kiyomune Takano, who would become the band's leader. The 3 new members initially struggled to adapt to the band's style. Coming from classical music backgrounds or formal education, their approach differed from Omori and Wakai, who relied heavily on intuition. Despite this, Mrs. Greenapple pushed forward, and made their major debut in 2015 with Variety. The opening track became one of their first hits, earning praise from Studio Ghibli composer Satoshi Takebe and Mami from Scandal. Their reputation across Japan was growing rapidly with each release. Like most Japanese artists, MGA started gaining global recognition through anime music, with their debut single being used as the ending theme for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Spin-off series. MGA released 4 albums over the next 4 years, and became popular enough to sell out a 17,000-seater venue. Their popularity reached a new high in 2019 with Inferno. Used as the opening for Fire Force, Inferno is to this day their most popular song, and even the 20th most viewed J-pop song on YouTube. July of 2020 marked the 5th anniversary of MGA's major debut. They released a chart-topping Best Songs album to commemorate, but they also had one other big announcement. Mrs. Greenapple announced the end of Phase 1 and a subsequent pause on all of their activities. They would be leaving their agency and needed time to recruit more staff and transition to Phase 2 of their project. Fans were surprised by the decision, but Omori assured them that it was all planned. Although he didn't want to keep fans waiting for a long time, so he decided to launch his solo career. This was always a second goal for him, given that he could express himself differently than with the band. As a soloist, Omori wasn't as self-conscious about his lyrics, so he could show a side to himself that he never displayed with his band. He eventually released 2 EPs and provided music for a bunch of popular artists, notably producing my favorite Ado song, I'm Invincible, which was featured in One Piece Film Red. Fast forward to 2021 and Project MGA was announced, a collaboration and partnership with Universal Music to expand the band's reach in both music and entertainment. At the end of the year, Mrs. Greenapple announced that they would resume activities in spring of 2022, but Takano and Yamanaka would not be returning. Following their 20-month hiatus, Mrs. Greenapple launched Phase 2 with the new single. Their next release, Dance Hall, became the band's fastest track to reach 100 million streams. Even without Takano and Yamanaka, their sound remained largely unchanged, although something else did, and it had fans very curious. You'll notice the stark contrast in the trio's appearance from Phase 1 to Phase 2. The flashy hair colors, outfits, use of makeup, and even a change in their physique. The trio said that these changes weren't intentional, and that during their hiatus, they spent a lot of time bodybuilding. Planned or not, their new image resonated with Japan's younger generation. They started to do more songs for commercials and movies, so their name was getting recognized by those outside of their usual music circle. 2023 marked the band's 10-year anniversary, and this is when their popularity really started to skyrocket. MGA held their first ever sold-out arena and dome tour, and released 2 other big hits, which totaled over 300 million streams. The year even ended with an appearance on Kohaku Utaka-sen, Japan's prestigious New Year's music event. It's worth noting that one of their biggest competitors went on hiatus around this time. Hige was Japan's biggest band at the time, but when they returned, Mrs. Greenapple took their crown. They were Japan's most popular artist again in 2024, and their song Lilac, which was used as the opening for Oblivion Battery, was viewed more than 3 million times within 4 days of releasing. No one could match their pace in pumping out big hits, and there seems to be no signs of them slowing down this year. MGA held their first concert in South Korea and will be holding a concert at Yamashita Pier that's expected to bring in 100,000 people. MGA will also be releasing a second Best Hits album in the summer, which I'm expecting to coincide with an announcement about Phase 3 of the project. Back in 2023, one song from Mrs. Greenapple received a lot of negative attention, even from those with no interest in J-pop. Their song Columbus was written for a Coca-Cola TV commercial. The issue didn't come from the actual song, but rather its music video. I can't play it due to copyright, but I think these images alone are enough to get the full story. It depicts the trio dressed up as Christopher Columbus, Napoleon, and Beethoven. They discover an island inhabited by people who look like apes and end up teaching them various things. Some wonder why Japanese companies often hire cultural consultants, and here's your answer. Mrs. Greenapple apologized for the video's insensitivity, adding that they intended to depict, and I'm quoting them, life forms of different ages having a home party. The video was removed the day after airing, but it still left a bad impression of the band for a lot of people. Mrs. Greenapple is currently the biggest music act in Japan, and it doesn't seem like that's going to change anytime soon. So why are they so popular? From a music perspective, it seems simple. Our attention spans are pretty cooked nowadays, and Omori has made sure to take advantage of it. He assumes that people will only listen to the first 30 seconds of a song when streaming, so rather than making them wait for the chorus, he presents the melody or hook right from the start. By the time you hit the 30-second mark, you'll stick around for his incredible vocal range and his heartfelt lyrics. Some of these views can also be traced to MGA's production, because it got a big budget boost since the start of Phase 2. If there's anything I've learned from seeing Ado's rise under Universal Music, it's that they make sure to milk all they can out of her. Although, with Mrs. Greenapple, Universal seems more focused on their brand. While all the edgy teens are probably listening to Ado, Mrs. Greenapple is the go-to band for students, especially girls. If you consume mainstream Japanese media, you're probably gonna recognize the trio, even if you don't listen to any music. Their presence in advertisement and television is unmatched by other top artists, and this is pretty evident by their social media following. And that's the main things to know about Mrs. Greenapple. Let me know what you think of the band and if they live up to their hype. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more J-pop content. If you'd like to support the channel and help cover editing costs, I've got YouTube memberships now with exclusive content and perks. Otherwise, thanks for watching.